I'm going to treat this stuff with respect, Battle. Dadgum, that's essential trimmer for you. That's essential trimmer for you. Oi, Battle, thanks for stopping by my shop today. Let's get to work on the fuel tank of my bullnose truck. Here we are in the front of my shop, and this is the side tank out of my bullnose truck. It's been sitting on my shop floor for ages, so I'm going to go ahead and power wash it today, and then we'll paint the exterior of it, and I'm going to go ahead and get the fuel filler tube off of it and get the fuel sending unit out of it. Let's go ahead and get to work. This is the fuel sending unit, and it should have a shower head, a piece of plastic right here that filters the fuel inlet to the mechanical fuel pump, but it's gone. Set that fuel sending unit out of the way. This right here is a grommet for a roll-over valve in case the vehicle rolls over in an accident. It prevents fuel from spilling all over the place. Get this hose clamp loose. Take the fuel filler hose off. There we go. Seems like it's been on there since the factory. Now, these bullnose trucks, the brick nose trucks, the bullnose trucks, probably even the old body style trucks, they have difficulty filling the tank, and the fuel pump clicks off often. That is this piece right here. It has to do with this piece. And I've read about guys completely deleting it. I've read about guys turning it to the factory specification. And I'd have to do some reading. I've looked up on it before, but my fuel tanks have never filled properly. So that's something that we can fix in the future. You can see all the cobwebs on it, how long it's been sitting in the bottom of my shop. There's still a little bit of fuel in it. Oh, you know what? I see part of that shower head. It's pieces of that plastic shower head, Battle, that are left inside there. Let me go ahead and get some grabbers. I'm going to go ahead and get some of these gloves on to keep the nastiness off of my hands. It's just standard hardware store paint that we're going to be painting the exterior with later, and then in a future video we'll do the interior. But diesel fuel is pretty stinky. I don't want it getting all over my hands. So, not that I got a big date with Mama this evening or anything. Got these. It's definitely part of the shower head. I might not be able to get it, Battle. And of course the tank is steel, so the magnet on the end of my grabber sticks to the tank, but the grabber is having difficulty. You gotta hold your tongue right, Battle. Definitely not gonna reach my hand in there, Battle. That would be a job for the local fire department to come and rescue me. And I don't want to be that guy. There have to be more pieces of the shower head down in here. I guess that's part of the shower head. There it is. I'll put it over here out of the way. Get this strap off. It's probably been here since the factory. Protector mat. There are tangs on this side, there's a tang on the other side. I guess it keeps it from abrading against the skid plate. I have the skid plate right over there, and we can blast it off with the power washer here. There it is. And I'll have to check the video to get it back on right. They're probably good to blast off. Looks in good repair. I can spiff it up and get it nice and shiny, and then put it back on when the fuel tank goes back in my bullnose truck. You know why, right, Battle? Make sure the guy with the red beard doesn't find out about it. He would say, you left off that protector that goes between the fuel tank and the skid plate. And he would know. Plus, it's probably good for 10 or 12 foot-pounds of torque. We'll see. I'd always thought about getting this bullnose truck to run off a veggie diesel. There's the power washer battle. The Simpson. I have the water turned on. And on the right, you can see the different fittings. And actually, I've heard that, the steady stream power washer fittings can be pretty dangerous. So I'll probably start with the 40 degree, which is the white fitting. We'll just go ahead and blast this fuel tank off in the skid plate. And I think it'll be clean enough to paint. So it's been a week. I wasn't able to start my power washer. I ended up ordering a carburetor for it and I just installed it. So let's see if I can get it started now. You can hear it battle. It started on like the third pull. Good deal. Once I get it clean battle, I'll go ahead and let it drain. And then before I line the inside with the sealer, I'll go ahead and suck all of the remaining diesel and water out of it with my hand pump. Alright, got the skid plate clean, got the strap that goes around the tank that's an insulator clean. I have gotten the tank pretty well clean, but I'm going to go ahead and finish her up. I power blasted the fuel tank and I'm going to go ahead and paint it. So I think I'm going to use this 2-inch brush, just the basic hardware store brush. And I got this paint that I used for the top of the master cylinder on my 71, and it's since chipped off, but I'm going to go ahead and paint the exterior of the fuel tank with this semi-gloss black, and then we'll do the inside of the fuel tank. Now I am wearing PPE, some safety gloves, safety glasses, and a mask, but I'm doing it here in the shop. I can already smell the fumes off the paint, so it's good that I'm doing it with the garage door up. If you spray this stuff, make sure you wear a respirator. Alright, get her done. Now this is a hammered finish as well. We'll see how it turns out. I'll do the top side of it this morning. It's before lunch. And then it says it needs a few hours to dry to the touch. So we'll flip it around and do the bottom side this afternoon. Or maybe I'll do it tomorrow after work. It says recoat times, let it go a full 24 hours. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. I like the way it's covering. Now, when I blasted the fuel tank, I didn't use any kind of cleaner. Those power washers, they do have an attachment so that you can run soap through them. And if I were to use a cleaner, I would have used either the green cleaner or I just would have used dish detergent. And I know you're thinking, oh, what the heck? But the good thing about dish detergent is it doesn't leave any grease. It's designed to lift grease. So that's why I would have used it. But I think the high pressure water did a fine job. This fuel tank is actually in pretty good shape. Sometimes on a classic car, a fuel tank can be all old and corroded and rotted. You can check out the forums. I lined the inside of the fuel tank on my 71 Oldsmobile. I painted the exterior with brush-on paint like this. And I mentioned on those forums, I said, well, the fuel tank was in good shape, no rust, but it had a huge dent in it. So I don't know, the previous owner must have tried to do some off-road with me. I always remind myself that any car at a car show, you know, a classic, isn't in the junkyard, so that's a plus. Because they're few and far between now, Battle. These old, big body rear-wheel drive cars and the old style trucks. You know, my 2020 F-150 rides like a luxury car. Or maybe it's just that my 86 Ford F-250 rides like a Conestoga wagon. Actually, it's looking pretty good already. And I've only been at it for 10 minutes, if that. Got this mark right there, 4. I don't know what it means. There it goes. Probably won't be able to see it anymore. And I suppose the guy with the red beard, he's going to be like, well, you covered up the assembly line marks on the fuel tank when you painted it, didn't you? And then I'll have no choice but to say, yes, I did. And then it'll probably prevent me from winning that Concors d'Elegance that I enter my 86 bullnose truck into. The sacrifices we make for our hobby, right, Battle? We're doing pretty good, Battle. Actually, almost halfway done with this top half. Sort of in a quandary, Battle. You know, Oldsmobile big block, even with the J heads in 76, they were built for torque to move those lead sleds down the road. And then the 6.9 liter IDI diesel that's in my bullnose truck, I suppose it was built for fuel economy and work versus the 460 that was available in the trucks at the time. My glasses are sort of fogging up, but that's okay. Want to do the right thing. Wear PPE. Looking pretty good, Battle, looking pretty good. I took the fuel fill tube off of it, and I imagine it had been on there since the factory. Probably it's a smash. I'm not wearing it to be witty or gimmicky. I'm wearing it to do the right thing, Battle. And if you paint the exterior of your fuel tank with brush-on oil-based paint, I suggest you wear the same type of PPE, if not an actual respirator. I'm gonna be careful around the fuel sending unit here. And I am not going to paint in there on the sealing surface. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. Okay, Battle, we got the top side of the fuel tank painted. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my brushes and clean my paint can and then let it dry. I gave it a good 6 or 7 hours. It's dang near dinner time now. And paint the bottom side. I had flipped it over at first, and a little bit of diesel that was in it spilled there on the mat. I was like, oh great. Might have to do an extra coat. I'm going to have enough paint for it. I think this is going to turn out okay. I have that kit, and we can seal the inside. Now, I'd always thought maybe I'd do veggie diesel with my IDI. We'll have to see. But I haven't done much reading on it, Battle. a little bit, but I haven't planned the system that I would install. And I want this to set up a good 24 hours before I move it again, or before I add another coat. We'll see. We'll see where this takes me. At least I'm getting stuff done. And then the fuel tank I removed from my bullnose truck a long time ago with the intent to seal it and paint it. So I'm finally getting around to it, Battle. Looking good, looking good. Thanks for hanging with me, Battle. So, Battle, what do you think? I'm going to go ahead and clean up my brushes, let it dry overnight, just like that, and then maybe we'll come back to it after work tomorrow and give it a final touch-up with paint. I'd like to paint the driver's fender on my bullnose truck. So we'll see, maybe that's a future video that I can do. And I've only ever painted, when I did that 71, it was single stage paint. I've heard that base coat, clear coat is more forgiving to the novice painter. I don't know if that's true or not. Of course, in 71, all the GM cars were single stage, and in 86, my Ford truck was single stage. We'll see. If I paint the fender on my bullnose truck, it's probably just going to be out in the yard. Here's the fuel tank. It's the next day. I guess I'll go ahead and add another coat of paint. There are a few brush strokes or runs in the paint, but it looks pretty good. I did some reading on the forums on this fill tube for these bullnose trucks, and the center conduit in the fill tube is the vent, and then the outer tube is where the fuel travels into the tank. And some of the gurus, they said, make sure that you include the vent, because if not, you're going to sit there forever waiting for the tank to get full. So, the center tube and the fuel fill hose, but I need to maybe take it out of the fuel fill hose and make sure it's not all mangled or twisted. I'll do a video reinstalling this. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if I'm going to do other videos in the meantime. We'll see, Battle. You and me together. But it looks pretty good. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll do veggie diesel. Or I thought about waste motor oil diesel, but you know, you put some of that stuff in your fuel tank and then it goes to your injection pump. I mean, a set of injectors for these IDIs, the 6.9 and 7.3, that's $300. Was $300 when I put new injectors on it years ago. So, I don't know, maybe that vent port in the fuel tank would be good for one of those Arctic Fox heaters that the big rigs use when they travel up north in Canada and Alaska. I should spend more time working on my bullnose truck and my plastic Oldsmobiles instead of watching TV. Do something constructive. We're getting it now. I'm dripping a little bit, but that's okay. That's why I'm doing this in the garage. So, we got a second coat of paint on it, Battle. Thanks for hanging with me. Sort of a simple task, cleaning in painting a fuel tank, but we'll go ahead and line it, and then we'll get it back into the truck, and I'll probably do a video of setting up the fuel lines. So I'll see you on the flip side, Battle. Mission accomplished, Battle. We painted the fuel tank. Make sure you tune in next time, and we'll go ahead and do a liner on the inside of the fuel tank. Please consider liking and subscribing. See you next time, Battle. Oh, great. All right. It doesn't